Well, welcome again to the new podcast. Been a hot minute, but Deevoz, welcome.
Hello, welcome.
And I have brought a guest. Mathman, how are you today?
I'm doing very well, thank you, Stevie.
Are you excited to talk about your journey?
Oh, absolutely. I think there are plenty of learning points there, so I'm more than more than willing to share.
Okay.
English, hard.
Yeah, because you are Dutch, right?
I am indeed, yes.
Very, very Dutch. Okay, because I'm Dutch too. But that's not the reason, or that's not the entire way how we've met. We've met because of a stream team.
Correct. We are both in the Gravekeepers, a horror variety stream team, sort of in 3 general divisions, I would say: Phasmophobia, Dead by Daylight, and indie horror. Although people usually cross in between those.
Yep, true. Well, Deevoz, do you have any questions?
Yeah, let's start right off the bat with a classic. Who are you?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Who am I? What am I doing? That's a really good question. There are 2 sides of Mathman, as there is to any good coin. On the one side, during the day, I spend a lot of my brain power working on mathematics, hence my name, Mathman. I'm actually doing a PhD in mathematical cryptography, have a master's degree and all that sort of stuff already. So that is what I do during the day. And then when I get home, I turn my brain off and play games, and that's what I do online. Focusing very much on the horror aspect. Do a lot of Phasmophobia. I do some DBD as well. Do some indie horrors, but very much focused on bringing the community along for the ride. So interactivity is very high on my list. And when I'm not doing that or doing my day job, I produce videos for YouTube on a channel called Content Delta, trying to help other streamers stream better, stream tips, that sort of stuff. Kind of on the, for me, it's very much on the business side of things. So I look at it for people that want to make it their job, that have that desire, that have that ability to focus their learning for that particular aspect, and then just go through the tech: Streamer.bot, Firebot, OBS. How do you set things up? How can you monetize streams? How do you grow? All these kind of things which everybody Googles for, but I don't believe there are correct answers for out there.
Okay.
Right.
So you're doing a PhD in maths.
Correct.
So one might call you a mathemagician.
Yes, yeah. So my work is in no way related to streaming, but it comes up a surprising amount because people ask you what are the chances, and without even thinking, you automatically calculate the probabilities in your head because you're in that a lot. So yeah, it does have an influence.
I can imagine. I find it a very interesting field to study. Can you explain for in layman's terms what you're researching for PhD, or is that not doable?
That is doable, actually. And in my particular case, it is. And I work in a field called mathematical, or I work in a field called cryptography, in the subfield mathematical cryptography, on the topic multi-party computation. And the classical sort of example is where, let's say, the 3 of us, after we're done here, we go for lunch.
Okay.
However, we make the agreement beforehand. The person with the most money in their bank accounts pays for the whole lunch.
Okay.
However, we of course don't want to tell each other what the bank account contains, how much it contains. So what we do is we take a slip of paper and we hand it to the waiter. The waiter then takes these slips of paper, goes into the back room, checks the slips of paper and burns them. He comes back with the bill on a silver platter and places it in front of the person with the highest value in their bank account. I designed a waiter.
Okay.
So we can input some numbers we can do computations without knowing what numbers each of us have put in.
Okay.
And all we get to know is whatever comes out. It's a form of keeping your money safe online. So I also have done some stuff with internet bank transactions and that sort of stuff.
Wow, okay.
But it also is used a lot in auctions. So if we all want to put in a certain value for a #1 issue of Wolverine from whatever year that came out of, we can do that without knowing each other's numbers, without even the auctioneer knowing the numbers, but still the program will bring forth the winner and the winning bid, but nothing else.
That's interesting.
Very interesting. It goes all way over my head because I have dyscalculia, so this is not. This is not for me.
Dyscalculia is a serious problem.
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
I have my opinions on that, but that is not related to streaming at all. I'll leave them aside.
Yeah, no, it's that's actually very interesting. So how did you even? Okay, so you're saying you're doing PhD and everything that you just explained, but how did you start streaming then? Like, how did that crossover? You know, you explained that it's like it happens, but how did you start in the first place? Because you're very busy. It sounds like. I
am. So I started streaming in 2018.
Okay.
And I started streaming because I was playing games with friends and they wanted to see my point of view.
Yeah.
Or when they couldn't play, or I was playing something, a solo game. I think back then it was Subnautica that had just come out, and I was just playing. I was playing a game. They wanted to see what was going on.
Yeah,
that was sort of how it started.
Okay.
Then after 4 to 5 months, I had to give up streaming because I had a bachelor project to do. We got into a very sticky move, which led us to copper internet, which, 5 megabit tops is not enough for streaming.
Yeah.
Then I had my master's project, and then we moved country from the UK to Belgium, where we live now. And it wasn't until March 2021 that the itch came back. Okay. That's sort of... I liked what I was doing in 2018, but now I want to pick it up again. I still had my microphone, I still had all my gear, I hadn't gotten rid of anything, but I really wanted to do something with that again. And again, I started off in the same niche, playing a little bit City Skylines, Subnautica, and that very quickly led into Phasmophobia, DBD, and now we're here, where I have somewhat become I call myself a horror variety streamer, but I do main Phasmophobia.
Yeah, I was about to say, I see you mostly play Phasmo.
Correct. At the moment, especially because, of course, the Apocalypse update dropped last month, so there's a lot of new stuff there, and it has a very nice core of people which really like the game, of which I am one. So yeah, I'm enjoying myself in this particular niche at the moment.
What made you choose Phasmo? I mean, you played DBD too, and DBD arguably is a game that a lot of people stream, but you stuck with Phasmo instead. Where did that come from?
At the risk of sounding quite negative towards DBD, which I don't mean. I love DBD. Genuinely, me and my wife still play it offline. We play it with friends, all that sort of stuff. But DBD does not generally create a good stream atmosphere, because if you have, for me at least, if I have a few bad games in a row, I will get angry, and my mood will sour, and it will spill over in the stream. Something which I didn't want. Secondly, when you're playing DBD, especially when you're playing Killer, and I know I'm talking to an expert killer here, but still, when you're playing killer, I have the tunnel vision effect. I will focus on the game, I will try and get my kills, and I won't get to talk to the people that are actually there.
Yeah.
And that is the main thing which I enjoy about streaming, is the social contact. It's being able to constantly talk to people, discuss topics, even if it's just the game we're talking about. And I missed that during DBD. And I sort of had to make not only decisions based on gameplay, but also in the most brutal way said, business decisions, and say, well, that is not where my strength lies. I need to stay interactive, so I'll go to a game that requires less of my focus, or a less constant focus.
Fair, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. It makes sense. Like, for me, it's completely different, which is funny, but it's very nice and interesting for me to hear other people's opinions. And yeah, because I am a killer main, I do play a lot of Survivor now too, but for me, I keep trying to talk to chat. So I understand how, but it sometimes can be very hard. So I 100% understand that opinion. However, I have a question about Phasmophobia, because Phasmophobia, I played it a lot, but at one point it got very still for me. At one point there was nothing new. It was the same thing over and over again. So how do you keep that interesting for somebody like me that wants to have like something interesting to talk about, or something interesting to do, or something, you know, something exciting needs to happen, you know? But that's just me. I'm talking about myself as a person. How do you do that with Phasmo? Like, how does that make you an interesting streamer to watch? So what do you do? So
for me, it's all about chat interactivity, right?
Yeah.
So I will make sure, so I have it right here, booklet, which is literally titled Notebook with all kinds of talking topics, okay. Which I record during the week, like when something happens or I think of a topic, I will write it down. Because of what I do on YouTube with Content Delta, and because of my own interests, I get contacted by viewers when there is drama, when Twitch makes a change, when something. So that is something where we sometimes, I mean, when the hosts got removed, we had a 45-minute discussion about, well, if they're being removed, they must not be linked to the discovery algorithm that they're moving in place. So what do hosts actually do? Well, in essence, nothing. And that sort of took a 45-minute journey of just people who I'm talking with, and people who are also interested in these things.
So, but are you a Phasmo content creator, or are you like a just talking streamer?
I'm a Phasmo content creator.
Do you see what I mean? Like, what is the overlap there? Why not any other game?
So why not? So first off, okay, this goes two ways. One, Phasmo has a fantastic core audience just on Twitch, but it also has a fantastic ability to be edited by each streamer. I use Dixper. I have channel point redeems with specific challenges that people can make me do. I have difficulty challenges with the new update where you can do custom difficulties. But the most important thing of Phasmo is that it is repetitive to the point that I'm automating my gameplay, and therefore can not, for I think a good 70 to 80% of the game, focus on people talking. So instead of the game becoming the center focus,
I understand.
It is the conversation that's the center focus, and whatever happens in the game and whatever people play at me in the game becomes almost secondary.
So how long have you been streaming now? Are you like a full-time streamer, part-time? How do I need to see this? How does the people that are listening or watching need to see this? Like, are you streaming full-time?
No. No, I stream 3 nights a week, Wednesday, Thursday, Sunday, 4 hours from 7 to 11. Hard cut off at 11 because the next day I have to be at my office between 8 and 8:30, sometimes 9, depending on who I work with, and do my day job.
Okay. So you do have a day job on the side and your studies and everything.
Well, my studies are my day job. That's how a PhD works. You specialize in such a degree that they're actually already starting to pay you. But that also means I do some teaching here and there. I give seminars, that sort of stuff.
Okay, and how long have you been doing that now? Like the consistent streaming?
I would say I started consistently streaming May 2021.
Okay.
I hit I think it was 250 followers in April, and then I did a celebration stream which was 18 hours, and then I started consistently streaming, starting at 2 nights a week, upping it to 3 nights a week, and shuffling my my schedule around a little bit earlier this year.
Okay. So do you see a massive change in, for example, in your streams, that if something like drama, like you said, happened, or Twitch did something or whatever, that more viewers are coming your way to talk about, to talk to you about stuff? Or are they only coming to you for Phasmo, or?
I think I managed to reel in 3 types of viewers as archetypes.
Mm-hmm.
So I have the sort of inner circle who are there for me.
Yeah.
What I notice with them is when there's Twitch drama or there's Twitch stuff coming about, my numbers will get to its normal level quicker, because they know I will use the first half an hour, 45 minutes to talk about it. Yeah. So and they want to hear my opinion, so they will come in. Then there's the second group who comes to me for just the package. Phasmo, a little bit of Phasmo, a little bit of me, a little bit of the interactions that I do, and that really take that to heart. And they don't really care about the whole Twitch thing. They don't care too much about the changes, but they do like hearing my opinion. So don't really see any changes there.
Okay.
And then there are the people that occasionally drop in, people that will come in because their favorite streamers in there, or the people that come in that know you, but you are not in their top 3 viewed streamers, who you might not see for 2 weeks and then see them twice in a row, etc., etc. So I think the main effect is the first part. So the first sort of group of people that are there for me, they want to hear my opinion.
It's like a combination as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Do you find it very difficult to, how do you say this? To juggle between being there for your community, because you build a community, obviously, to keep streaming, to be consistent, and also do your day job, and, do you find that very hard? And you also have a wife, right? You have a family, so
Correct.
Isn't that very, very difficult?
Yes. I think if we are talking about my biggest challenges, time management is 100% at the top. Like, if there are 2 things I have to note, it is time management and energy management.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like that one. That's a good one. Which
are not independent of one another, clearly, but they are independent things. So there are days where my cup runneth over, but there are also strict agreements that I have with my wife regarding streaming, regarding Twitch, regarding my work, strict agreements I have with myself regarding these things. For example, Tuesdays and Saturdays, you will almost never see me on Twitch, because I have particularly scheduled in my calendar forced time off, so that I am not allowed to be on Twitch. I lock myself, I do not allow myself to be on Twitch. That's time I spent with my wife. That's time I spent playing games, watching movies, whatever couples do, you know, or even going out to the cinema. Then there are my stream nights, which are Wednesday, Thursday, Sunday, and once a month I will stream on a Friday.
Okay.
That's my cocktail stream. I do that once a month. I have some drinks. I sit there and talk, and I get drunk, and it allows me to play a game that's not within my normal niche. Just to give you an idea, the last thing we played was the Dead by Daylight dating sim.
Oh my god, yeah.
You know, but it allows me to drop everything, have a drink, have fun, and not really think about everything that's going on. So it's almost like a bar night, because I will publish the cocktail beforehand. Everybody can get the things if they want to drink along or get their own drinks, and we'll just have a fun night. Okay. And then that leaves Mondays and Fridays, in which in the evening I will, you know, usually be on Twitch while having something else on my other screen, doing random bits and pieces. And then, well, I think this is a very long way of saying I have my calendar pretty much full and follow a lot of sort of the productivity mind space, just to make sure that I am performing in a way that works for me. Which is very busy.
Yeah, very interesting. Because this is pretty much like Deevoz's topic a little bit, is that, of course, mental health. So you are very explicit in saying that you blocked things off, and you have like rules or like conversations with your family saying like, I need to do this, I need to do that, I want to do this, and we need some time off to play games together or whatever you said. But that, it sounds to me like you learned that the hard way.
Absolutely.
Do you want to explain that to us a little bit?
Yeah, of course. It's a tougher topic, so I think let's start with the start.
Okay. Deevoz, if you want to jump in, then go ahead.
Yeah.
I have a difficult relation with mental health from quite a young age.
Okay.
Have had some issues in the past, dropped out of school, the whole shebang. Didn't go back to high school until I was 24.
Okay.
Doesn't particularly matter in this case, but it has taught me a lot of my trigger points. It has taught me a lot of my things where I know, oh, I'm going too far. I know I'm a person that can hyper focus. I know I'm a person that has serious upswings and downswings in my mood. I suffer from SAD. So as it turns darker outside, my vitamin D uptake is not enough, and I get depressed. I go down very, very far. But then I bounce back as soon as the sun is out. So those are the things that you can learn. Those are the things you learn about yourself. You learn to deal with over the years. I am, oh God, a week away, 10 days away from 32.
Okay.
And having dealt with this for, I think now 15 years, it teaches you some tips and tricks about yourself. Like, you don't even have to really know a lot about the space. You just need to know, oh, how can I can see a pattern. Can I do something about this pattern? Which, that logical way of thinking also comes from my mathematical side. I've had issues with my wife where we would be quite unhappy because I hyper focus on something. And as the years have progressed, where in the start that may have caused regular altercations, now it doesn't do that anymore, because my wife knows who I am after 6 years together. I hope so. I know how she is. So instead, we know we have to be blunt to each other. So when she came to me, I think this was about a year ago. It was just after summer, because summer in academia, it's just like summers in school. It slows down. I had a lot of time to do all kinds of stuff that wasn't work related. But at a certain point, you have to go back to work. You have to be there again full time. But I wasn't cutting away hours from my content creation. So it had to cut out somewhere. Turns out it cut out of family time. So we sat down, or she sat me down and said, you know, okay, we need to step back here, and we need to regulate the times more. And that is sort of how that system started building. And because of that system, my wife also knows that if I have issues with one of the aspects, I can always go to her and say, you know, you don't have to help, you don't have to do anything, just listen, just let me rant for half an hour and I'll be fine. Vice versa, she knows the same with me. And in that, I really have a very stable point in my life. My wife is far less upswing, downswing than I am. And she recognizes the signs of when I'm gonna get a downswing before they actually happen. Okay. So there I have a real support structure in place with my wife. And it has helped me a lot. Mental health wise, yeah, there are still points where I take up too much. Absolutely. There are points where I'm sitting with 3 editing jobs or a video or a short, or I'll be and I have three streams planned and a charity event or some kind of event and this and my normal work on top of that, where I can't handle it anymore. Again, I have systems in place. I know what to do. I know, okay, this is too much. Stop. Just stop. Sit down, piece of paper. What do you have to do? Write it down. Why is this not in your to-do list? Why is this not in your catch-all system? And just like that, you start working back to, oh, now I have everything again. I have everything in a list. And now I can say, these things are time sensitive. These things are not time sensitive. These things are important. These things are not important. What can I now do?
So it is things that you have like lived with for a long time that basically are affecting arguably the streaming life too, but you already know all the systems of how to deal with it, so that's good.
Yeah, and I think in that it helps that I'm what I personally would call a mature streamer. The 30+ crowd, I have more of that life experience. And I have more understanding of who I am as a person, where people that are maybe 18, 19, 21, 22, sort of that 18 to 22 range, do not have the same, I wouldn't say self-discipline, but it's partly self-discipline, partly knowledge about yourself, that they can act in a constructive way. And I don't say that I'm always constructive, don't get me wrong. I still sit on the couch sometimes with my hands in my hair, or I mean what remains of it, and think by myself, what the hell did I ever get myself into? What the hell am I doing, and why am I here? And why am I still putting all this pressure on me? Absolutely, I have that. But I am also self-aware enough to, or sometimes my wife is self-aware enough to then just give me that sort of verbal slap in the face and wake up and actually start acting instead of just continuing what I'm doing. And again, this comes very much from a part of my life where I was in a deep depression around 13, 14. Saw psychologist after psychologist, had some let's say darker episodes, just to keep this PG-13, and eventually dropped out of school. And I really had to work. I think in the end 4 or 5 years to recenter myself, to find what I wanted in life, and more importantly from myself, before I was able to reintegrate in what I would call normal society. After which I started working in a shop because I didn't want school anymore, and that was the easiest way. Worked retail for about 10 years, ended up moving to Denmark, spent a good 7 years there, became the Scandinavian training and recruitment manager for a company, a toy company, and then moved into academia when I realized how much I love mathematics and wanted to go back to school. So I've done a few things, and I've sort of walked my path in life that has led me to where I am now, and to have the knowledge that I have now. But it also helps, and this is the complete other side of it. It helps that I'm super interested in these things.
Yeah.
I have David Allen, Getting Things Done, standing behind me as a book. I have read many of these sort of almost self-help productivity books, which help you structure your life, because I'm very chaotic. And it's sort of my challenge is not getting things started, it's getting things done. So I need structure in my life to be able to plan when I do these things. Else I'll just forget. I can't even remember what I had for breakfast. My memory is on some points really good, on other points horrible. So it's building the systems that you as a person need, and you can't build those systems unless you know what kind of person you are, which requires certain experience, in my opinion.
Did adding streaming to your life add additional mental health challenges that you didn't expect before, or you didn't have before?
I find it a very hard question because the easy answer is yes.
Mm-hmm.
The difficult answer is not technically add. It just removed some of my issues and replaced them with streaming related mental health issues.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay, yeah.
Like, as I said, I was a training and recruitment manager for a toy company, but part of that was training the entertainers. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Hamleys.
Yes.
No.
The London toy company, where people are... So in Hamleys, there are people always standing outside juggling and shouting and having fun with kids and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
That was my job. I was training those people in Copenhagen, in Stockholm, in Oslo, in Helsinki, in Malmö as well. I would go around. I would train these people in the ways to sell, teach them soft skills as well, teach them how to do their job. But because of that, I was one of the people that did that. And it's that sort of performance aspect of me, of that I've always done theater as well. I've always done music. That really helped that creative outlet in streaming, which I didn't have before that. However, where that solved a lot of my sort of I'm feeling bored and I'm feeling depressed because I don't have anywhere to have that creative outlet. It also introduced all the standard streaming things, from worrying if your setup is going to work this time now that you've rebooted your computer, or to checking your stream numbers afterwards and going, okay, why did I only pull 15 average viewers instead of 20? Yeah. Why did I only pull 3 average viewers instead of 5? It doesn't matter what level you're at, right? Even if you pull 5,000 people, you're sitting there if you only pull 3.5 average. But that sort of mindset, or that sort of pressure that you put on yourself, is something which has definitely added since I started streaming.
Right.
So then I have a quick question. So did you ever experience like hate raids or hate or anything like that at all?
Hate raids, no.
Okay.
So I've never been raided with nasty messages or raided by people and then had otherwise unpleasantness thrown my way.
Okay. And any other type of hate?
I had the funniest people come in at some point. Just like 3 kids, I think, started telling me I was balding and that I had a blockhead, and and the only thing I could say, yeah, Skiphole contacted me. They want to make another landing strip on my forehead, and then they all got banned. So I'm very self-critical. They can't hurt me more than I hurt myself.
So, but like, as you know, like a lot of hate is happening now with Twitch and everything.
Absolutely.
So I was wondering if that also adds any pressure onto you. But like you said, you don't really give a damn about any type of hate or anything that people say. Is that correct?
Usually no. So, as I said, you know, I'm very self-critical. I have been through the whole bullying stages in when I was younger and when I was a kid and all that sort of stuff. So they don't really get me. Mm-hmm. I think being prepared helps as well. So make sure you have that panic button. Make sure you can close everything down when you need it. Which I have. So that security for me is in place. Okay. Would I say it doesn't affect me at all? No, of course it affects you. Okay. Of course you sit there and think, ooh, or I see it happen with someone and like you feel that. And that's okay. It's being able to then put that behind you or shrug that off, at least for the remainder of your stream, to then deal with it afterwards. That I think is the hard part.
I agree.
Did you ever feel like the need to like quit a stream in the middle because you felt like you got out of the, like, I want to call it mental fortitude that you want to be in?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, yeah, no, no doubt happened, but I am very careful with that sort of stuff. I know there are people that say, you know, okay, I'm not feeling well today, I should not stream. Or you get to a point where your mental fortitude is gone, where you have taxed it too much and you just sort of sink in while streaming. I've had it once where I stopped stream in the middle because my energy was gone. I couldn't continue without feeling that I didn't put good content down. Because that is always on my mind. Yeah. I don't generally do streams longer than 12 hours. I don't regularly do streams longer than 4 hours. Why? Because after those 4 hours, my energy is gone. I can't deliver the same energy, the same sort of power that I want to deliver. I've had it multiple times where I would sit at the computer and I start at 7. I'll sit there at 6:45 and I'll say to my wife, maybe I should skip tonight. Maybe at last moment, just call the whole thing off. And she'll just turn to me, no, you won't. Because she knows me.
Yeah.
Every time I felt like that, 9 out of 10 times, I would start the stream and suddenly it's the best stream you've ever had. You come in there with little energy, but you put on your game face, you start that first hour, you see how it goes, and suddenly everything aligns. It's like because you're feeling bad, something in the cosmos just goes, super, you're gonna have a good stream today. And vice versa, if you are having a great day and you feel super pumped, and you start up your stream and you have things to talk about and you know you're prepared and you have something special and everything is aligned within you, it turns out that you're only pulling half the viewers and nobody really chats. It's so unpredictable that for me, not taking the chance on feeling better after I stream because I'm feeling bad before I stream is not the right choice. I'd rather take that chance. I might feel worse, but at least I've given it the old college try.
But is streaming your dream? Is this what you want to do? Is streaming your #1 dream?
Having tried many other things, yes. And I wouldn't, I'm just gonna put a little caveat in there and say no, not streaming, but content creation in general.
Okay, that makes sense. So you
short
want to
form,
be
long form.
Yeah, so you want to be a content creator. You want to be seen as a content creator, right?
At some point, that would be, I wouldn't say the dream, because I know how tough it can be as a content creator. But I would say that is an ambition I have. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I read all the stories with people needing to take breaks and people needing to step away, and the effect it can have on their private lives. And recently, all the stuff breaking with Amaranth.
Yeah.
I know how difficult it can be to stand in the limelight. But on the other hand, I can also appreciate that there are so many people that do good and genuinely impact the world being who they are and being content creators, that for me, it's a risk worth taking.
And in your opinion, what is good?
Okay. I have a very specific definition of good.
Okay.
An act of good or just doing good means that you leave the world a better place on aggregate than it was before you took the action. And I speak from that from a very mathematical sort of point of view, right? So even if it's 1% better, it's better. But if somebody makes it so that 5% fewer children die in the first 5 years of life during their lifetime, it's maybe 5%, but they did good. if there's somebody who improves the education of the next generation by 10%, 5%, compared to their generation, they've done something good. And I think you need to be very careful in defining good as something global instead of something local. It might be that they have not been good for other areas, for other subjects, but they might have done something incredible for this one specific thing, which is their mission. To use an example here, are you familiar with Hank and John Green?
No.
Okay, Hank and John Green started off as the Vlog Brothers in 2007 on YouTube. They are brothers. One is, well, they're both authors now, but one was a writer, the other is science educated, and they have YouTube channels such as SciShow, Crash Course, just all kinds of sort of educational, edutainment channels, while still maintaining Vlog Brothers, which is just them making a vlog to each other each week and discussing things that are on their minds.
Okay. No
restrictions. They've talked about football, Formula One, the democracy in China, everything. Just any topic they're interested in, even art, writing, doesn't matter. So one of the things they have done, one of the things that they do, is they have a partnership with Partners in Health, and they have built maternal centers of health in Sierra Leone.
Okay.
Cutting very locally in Sierra Leone childhood mortality and maternal mortality during childbirth by, I believe at the moment, 40 or 60%. That is, for that specific area,
yeah, something good. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Does that mean that they also have to solve the climate crisis, or that they also that they maybe contribute to the climate crisis with some of their businesses? Do we really have to value these things against each other when their core mission is not help the climate crisis?
I understand what you mean. I do understand what you mean, but how does that implement into streaming? Like, because we're all streamers here and content creators, obviously. But how? Let's speak about like Twitch and our community. So, what, in your opinion, is doing something good? What is good in streaming? Because for a lot of people, something good can be completely different than what I think is good. Sometimes I see something happening and I don't think that's good at all, but people that are doing it think that's amazing and that's good. You see what I'm saying? The same, for example, with cancel culture, calling streamers out for their things that they have done and they need to apologize and everything. A lot of people are saying that's good. I don't think it's good. Do you see what I mean? So what, in your opinion, is good?
Okay. You're making, just off the record, you're making me put words into the atmosphere, which I might regret later, but I don't care. So cancel culture is such a specific measure, and I actually love that you bring this up, because it brings a second very, very important aspect to goodness. Goodness cannot be destructive.
That's a good one. I like that one.
Goodness must construct. You cannot cancel someone without also offering them a chance at education and redemption. Because if you're just going to cancel people for something that they do, you're not bettering society as a whole. You're just removing something from society which could be used for good.
But the logical counter argument here would be, if you remove plastic from the oceans, you're also just removing something bad. I'm not trying to defend cancel culture here. That's not the idea. But just like in that thought experiment that we just created.
Yeah. Okay. And I fully understand. But are you really only removing plastic from the ocean? Because if you're only removing plastic from the ocean, I would say you're not doing something good. Because you're just removing plastic from the ocean. Where are you going to put this plastic? Are you recycling it? Because then you're not only removing plastic, you're also converting it and constructing something that makes use of the plastic again. If you're just removing it and moving it somewhere else, it's just gonna end up there again, eventually.
Yeah. So so you believe that people deserve a second chance?
I believe people deserve... This is not general. No. I cannot generalize this, but I believe that people deserve to be heard.
But sometimes, especially on Twitter, you can't win.
Correct.
So how do we as streamers solve something like that? We can't, you know, like if I get cancelled on Twitter, there's not much I can say that will do any good, really. Because it goes like into their own narrative and everything. So how do you as a streamer, because that's the danger, right, as they say, of being a content creator, that it's so easy to, you know, to make a mistake. It really is very, very easy to make a mistake. Even if you don't mean to, even if you don't want to, and if you didn't want to be mean or any ill will at all, sometimes people call you out on your mistake.
Yeah.
So what do you think as a streamer or as streamers we should do?
I think you hit the nail on the head. There is nothing you can do. And that has nothing to do with you as a streamer, but everything to do with the fact that you're talking to an audience that is not looking to construct.
Yeah, what you just said, yeah.
Like, no person can do good in the world alone, unless you are the Bill Gates in the world. But even he can't do good alone, because he funded a lot of the vaccine trials for COVID. But on the other hand, all the anti-vaxxers go, he just wants to track you. You cannot please everybody, but you can do something for the majority of people, which is a benefit to society as a whole. And as streamers, we also have to realize that we have audiences, and each audience will have their own mental model and its own morals and values. Personally, very broadly speaking, there will be religious entities that dislike the fact that I curse on stream. There will be people following these, following the doctrines of these religious entities, which will not enjoy my stream based on that fact. Do I, as a person, as a streamer, have to care about every single person in the world? No. Because these are clearly not the people that are within my reach. And yes, of course, you might then get thrown under a bus on Twitter. The question is, and I mean this in the best way possible, should you even care?
It really depends on the subject. Let's make that very, very clear here.
Oh no, absolutely. I mean, we're now not talking about
something
very black and white subjects. We're talking about subjects which have formative, logical opinions, things which can actually be discussed among you know, normal adults. Things which, you know, may or may not be within your area of expertise. I'm not saying it's my area of expertise, but I'm old enough to have an opinion on many, many things, and I'm not worried about voicing them. And I will actively choose. It's a brilliant line, and I can't remember who it's from. I think it's... I have it somewhere. I think it's David Allen, who writes in his book, Getting Things Done. I think it's David Allen. I can't remember. If I misquote the source, I'm sure people in the comments will say so. Do I, at this time, want to invest the energy required into this subject to make a change for the better? And if you ask that question in some form or another, every time you engage in talking in the, well, let's restrict it to Twitter, or let's restrict it to social media in general. If you ask that question before replying, suddenly you'll notice there's a lot of things where you're just sitting there and you're like, no, I have nothing to contribute to this that is going to affect these people. So why would I spend my time and energy on that? And
I would assume, like in many of those situations, it's that people get in an emotional state, and like probably won't find the pause button to think about the action itself. Like arguably, we all probably have argued in the with strangers on the internet, and we all have made the experience that 99% of the time it was an absolute waste of time. And even though some people agree with you, they probably had the same opinion before, so the whole argument in the end was entirely unnecessary. But at the same time, arguing on the internet is one of the most fun things to do in the world. So
you are completely right. You are completely right. And I think we've all had the experience, right, where we're sitting on Facebook or Twitter or whatever era you're in. Sometimes it was even, you know, forums, hives, exactly, hives, or yeah, exactly, IRC, or just one of those PHPBB forums, and you're writing this long answer. It's like 10 Twitter posts long, and at the end you're just like,
why?
You know what? I'm just gonna not and delete everything.
Yeah.
And that is the brilliancy of that question. If you ask yourself that question, even in an emotional state, if you get to the point where you can almost automate that switch that asks, I'm about to respond to something here. Do I, at this moment in time, want to invest the energy to make a positive contribution to this subject? No, I don't. Fantastic. I'll be angry about it. I'll rant to somebody who I know has the same opinion as me, and that's done.
That's
I don't want to engage with this. Yeah, but I don't want. It's just I don't want to engage with this. And there are two things in this world, and this is very general. And I know we have long left streaming in our back corner and slowly floating out of the Milky Way to the center of the universe. But there are two things that people need to dare say more. I don't have enough information to form an opinion on this, and I don't want to engage with this at this time.
That's me every single day, honestly.
Those two questions or those two statements are so important for your personal development.
It is.
And to not sink into this social media hellscape that is just 9 layers of terror.
YouTube comments for me are the worst. Because I want to engage.
Yeah.
But I know I'm gonna lose. I'm gonna lose anyways.
Oh no. Because now you're coming to a now there is a nuance between those two. On Twitter, everybody has a soapbox to stand on. Everybody's just shouting. And sometimes you run by somebody on a soapbox who's shouting, and occasionally you'll decide to, you know, in that little bucket that they have standing in front of them, flick a like coin. On YouTube, especially on your own channel, people are coming into your house and insulting you. That's different.
Yeah, but sometimes
it's no longer an open forum.
But
it is your house they're coming into.
True, but it's smarter to sometimes not say anything.
Yeah, but there is a
Deevoz is laughing.
That's a flip-sided coin in the end, because after all, every engagement you get out of them is pushing your algorithm, right? So
that is true.
You might want to even use that in your favor, even though
I know,
it is.
but sometimes they can be so vicious.
Yeah.
And mean.
Yeah. And
like,
that's
why?
because people in general are not nice.
They're not.
That's true.
Very true.
So maybe we can bring that back to your personal stream, because you said that you love to like discuss or have conversations on your stream. And how do you deal when like difficult topics can come up? Like, is that literally those two answers that you give at the time, or because oftentimes the difficult topics are very interesting to discuss, but they also have the solid chance of creating a rift in your community?
That is a good
So I have two rules.
Yes.
I have one rule. And it's the same rule that I feel every single person should have. We do not discuss politics or religion. I am willing to discuss maths, physics. I'm willing to discuss psychology. I'm willing to discuss all kinds of stuff. But if you want to discuss psychology or religion, you are free to do so in the Discord. In a private platform where we can moderate everything that's being said, and to make sure that the discussion stays on topic and that the discussion stays civil. On Twitch, it's a public platform. People are going to come in, they're going to hear what I'm saying completely out of context. They're going to talk about these things, and I avoid that completely. So politics and religion are definite no-nos. Everything else, I can stay respectful in my discussions. And I will usually avoid giving firm answers.
Yeah, and advice as well.
Firm advice, I depends on the situation.
Yeah.
Like if somebody asks me, should I have a streaming schedule? Yes.
Yeah.
Should I move to YouTube? Okay, let's talk. Let's discuss this. Should I have a YouTube channel besides my Twitch channel? Yes. There are certain things which for me have no questions. There are certain things which we can discuss. There are also certain things which you have to make up completely on your own. I can't tell you if TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, or Instagram is the right move for you. I can give you ideas if you are very visual, if you happen to be traditionally beautiful and like taking photos. Instagram is probably a good place for you. If you are better with the spoken word or are not good at making photos, you might want to avoid Instagram. Like those sort of generalizations you can definitely inform people about.
Yeah.
Specific to their case, I would need to know specifically who they are, what kind of content they make, what they're good at, what they're passionate about, and then we can start talking about, okay, what is the right place for you to be? That was just as an example.
Yeah.
Because it is all very personal, and there are no right or wrong answers. What works for me does not need to work for either of you, and vice versa.
Yeah. Fair.
And especially on content creation, that is a delicate thing. Because I might say no to rage gaming. Like, if people like rage gamers, great. I don't. I will never suggest you become a rage gamer, because rage gamer was, you know, Twitch 2017, not 2022.
I feel like it ties a lot
really
to do with the target audience.
Yeah,
like,
target audience.
who are you trying to attack? And arguably, the way you have your stream, the way you interact will shape your audience. Because you will just not be interesting to people that enjoy that kind of content.
No.
Exactly.
Without even having to remove someone out of your community in a rough way or something that people just usually leave if you're not screaming within the first 10 minutes.
Exactly. And for me, I have made very conscious decisions to say, I am a mature stream. I allow open discussion. That also has a lot to do with who I am, as you guys can hear. I talk a lot. I can talk like this for hours. No problem. So I invite those kind of conversations. There will also be people that say, we don't talk about that here. And that's fine by me.
Yeah.
But you give me a topic that I am interested in, and I will talk to you about it for, well, until day's end. It's one of those where you will automatically gather like-minded people around you just because of who you are.
Yeah.
And there are people that are in your core audience who are most likely to be like-minded, and then you have your peripheral audience that are less like-minded but probably have the same overarching views. And then there are people that, you know, they just don't fit in your community. And either they will leave themselves, or eventually they'll make a remark which gets them removed. But again, what remarks get them removed is based on your personality, on your value standard,
like what you
your
want to put
morals.
out. Yeah.
Exactly. And I've actually this comes very apt, because I've just in inverted commas hired 2 new moderators, aka I've 2 people were interested, and I've made them moderators. And one of the key features for me, for moderators and also for VIPs, is, do they fit with the vision I have in mind? Somehow, this person, who is now a moderator for me, who has been in my community for 6 months, is a World of Warcraft RPer on the same server I am on. I roleplay on World of Warcraft. I enjoy Dungeons & Dragons, and World of Warcraft is just an easy access point for that sort of RP. Turns out I've interacted with him. We've known each other for 6 months. We've been talking in the Discord. We've been talking on Twitch. I had no idea that was that person. So at that point, without knowing, I have drawn in somebody from not just the same game, not just the same scene within the game, which is the smallest one, the role-playing scene. Not just that, but also the same server, and in fact, somebody who I've interacted with. And I didn't know until yesterday.
That is wild.
Yeah, that is.
But that's what I mean with, you draw people in that have the same views, the same hobbies, the same ideologies, and etc. as you do, at least to some degree.
Yeah. So maybe to summarize like the whole talk a bit, what would you say is your biggest learning in terms of streaming? Like, what is the number one learning you had over the time?
From a sort of so that there are multiple, of course. There's an infinite amount of learning you can do.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, as in skills for streaming,
mm-hmm.
there are two things.
Mm-hmm.
One, learn how to project yourself. Learn how to stand on a stage and talk.
Yeah.
Two, start a YouTube channel. It doesn't matter what you're doing. It doesn't even have to be the same as with Twitch. Just start a YouTube channel. Do something. Don't only do live content. From a sort of soft skill perspective, there is only one thing every person needs to learn, and they need to learn it quick. Day one, preferably. Not everybody's gonna like you, and vice versa. You're not gonna like everybody, and that's okay.
And then I have one question.
Yeah.
So we are in a stream team.
Yes.
Do you think that is helping at all on Twitch?
Helping in what way?
Does it give you any help? It can be anything in terms of viewership, in terms of friendship, in terms of anything, really. What is your opinion? How do you feel about being in a stream team? Is it necessary?
Two different questions there. Is it necessary? No.
Okay.
Is it helpful? Absolutely. Because one of the most difficult things as a streamer is that you're alone. And let me just as a sort of one of the hardest things of being a streamer is when you are hit by something. Something affects you, and you are unable to share it with anyone because either you fear that you are going to be judged, or the other person has no idea what you're talking about.
True.
I'll use myself as an example. January this year, I was on my all-time high, 30 average viewers, and that felt great. I was on an upward trend, everything was going well. February hits. 17% of all viewership on Twitch gone.
Yeah.
Just poof.
Yeah, go on.
Literally, I checked the numbers.
Yeah.
Twitch, January to February, was watched 17% less. Across the board. I lost 40% of my viewership. I was back down to 15, 16. Now you can ask me, okay, how do you deal with that? Well, you don't.
It's hard.
The fact that I had a stream team with other people that came to me and that came into the stream team and said, look, this has happened. Look, this has happened.
Yeah.
It happened to me too. It happened to me too.
It's not you.
Oh,
yeah.
It's not me. It's not me doing something wrong, which led me to actually research what happened here? And then we found out, because, you know, numbers guy, I do these things for a living, that actually 17% of people just gone. I put that on Twitter.
You did.
I got retweeted by a few much larger creators. I think that tweet got over 300 likes in a week. And every time it was, oh, so that's what happened. Yeah. And it doesn't matter if you have 100 viewers or if you have 5 viewers. I would have never gone to somebody who's a friend of mine who maybe pulls 3 to 5 viewers every time and say, look, I've gone from 30 to 15. Oh no.
Yeah. Because
what's the risk? They'll look to me and say, well, you have 15 and I have 5. Boo, who?
Yeah.
Sorry. Boo bleeping who?
Yeah, it's true. It does.
But it's that innate fear of, I have more than this person, so I shouldn't complain. Where a stream team can really help, and also with technical problems.
Yeah, true, same. Yeah.
Because I'm very technically savvy. I solve all my own OBS things. I make my own stuff in Streamer.boss and blah blah blah. But there are others that aren't, but there are great artists. Well, if I need artist suggestions, who do you think I'm asking? Not myself, because I don't know any. But it's great to have people in your direct circle with other skill sets than yourself.
Yeah, that is crucial.
And that is where stream teams help. And of course, the networking. Hadn't it been for stream teams, I wouldn't have met you, Stevie. I wouldn't have met Hawk. I wouldn't have had Dino, Trivia, Bepis, all these amazing people who are great to talk to. Lufty as well. I recently had a 2.5-hour discussion with Lufty about random stuff, Twitch related, and it's great. It's great to have that circle of people you can just turn to and say, oh, I know these people are from my team. If I go watch them, they'll say hi and they'll recognize that I'm a legit viewer.
And I also think that the most important thing for me is trust.
Yeah.
For me, that was the most important thing, because on Twitch that can be very difficult, trusting people. And in a stream team, everybody experienced the same things. And there's no judgment. And that is something that I really, really like and feel supported by. That no matter what it is, it can be like a real life thing or it can be a stream thing. They are there for you and they're not judging you, and you can trust them with your story. So that is something that I find very important.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that. Like, when something happens, and again, you have that, what you're saying, you have that trust that they will listen. They might not be able to help.
No, but they will try.
And they might even think, you know, to themselves, oh, what are you talking about? That's not that bad. But that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You are heard. And people, even if they might not like you, they will still respect you enough to at least try and help.
All right. So then I have a last question to wrap it up completely. Where do you see yourself in the coming years?
Where do I see myself in the coming years?
Yeah, as a content creator. What do you hope?
If we turn this into the standard interview question, 5 years ahead, I have a few hard goals and a few soft goals. Okay. First hard goal is very simple. I want to be a full-time content creator, preferably with a team. Like, I have ideas for YouTube channels which I can't execute in the current time frame. I have ideas for videos that I can't execute with my current financial level. those things need to develop before I can do anything new, anything cool. Secondly, one of the things that I would really like to do is to continue supporting newer content creators with the info that I think is important. Okay. And that doesn't have to be tech related. That's currently I'm doing a lot of tech because tech is cheap, or software is cheap. Most of the streaming tools are free, and you can download them, you can experiment with them. There are Discords to help you, and you can do something fun with that. But especially focusing on that sort of business side of things, and to turn content creation from what for many people is almost a dream, a sort of trial and error thing, into more of a science, if you understand what I say. Mm-hmm. And as for the soft, so I have one very personal soft goal. I want to do all this without any reliance on fan funding.
Okay.
I don't want to have my community, my viewers paying my bills. I want big companies to pay me to make videos and to do streams so I can pay my bills and still provide value to the community. But that is very sort of me. I don't like the idea of fan funding. Okay. That's also why, you know, everything that gets subs, bits, all that, I never take anything from it. I put it straight back into stream, into gear, into games, into giveaways, that sort of stuff. But that is sort of my own personal take on that. So I want to achieve full-time content creator with you know a reasonable YouTube channel and with Twitch as sort of a more creative outlet, without depending on fan funding.
Okay. Well, Deevoz, do you have any other questions?
Not so far now.
All right, good. Well, I think that's it. I want to thank you so much for your time, both of you.
Thank you.
And yeah, I learned a lot. I actually learned a lot, and I didn't expect you to be this open about a lot of stuff. And I'm glad that you did, because I learned a lot more about you as a person, as a streamer, and I want to thank you for that.
Thank you for having me. It's not often that I'm allowed to be, or that I allow myself to be this open, but I think it's very important for other people to know that there are struggles, and it's okay to sort of recognize that.
True. Very true. Well, thank you so much, and Deevoz, thank you as well.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Good chat.